Happy Sunday, legends. I hope you're all well. Just off to town to go for a walk because played rugby yesterday. My body is broken, had a nasty tackle, but we're not injured. Can confirm we're no longer made of glass, which is quite a nice feeling for me. But I've got a gift voucher from Christmas, so we're gonna go and try and find a cookbook because I really enjoy cooking, but I feel like I need to experiment a bit more to find 1 or 2 recipes that are going to be phenomenal for me to use whilst we go through this 10-week cut. Things that are simple and easy to use. Like, we're going to have a meal plan, but every now and then, like, a little sprinkle of freedom is quite good. Always trying to think about that, like 90-10, 80-20 rule when it comes to food. And one of the key things for me at training, the way that I do, because I still play rugby, a definition of one of them hybrid athletes is when I do play on Saturdays, I really try and stay active on Sundays, keeping the blood pumping. So that does help to remove waste products, helps get the oxygen back going. So all these kind of things always help just staying as active as we can.
Hello Dallas, little cutie.
It's bloody cold, right? Leave me be. Salt, absolutely key for how much I'm training at the moment. So yeah, this is what we've got. This is the pre-workout meal. 60 grams of oats, 20 grams of honey, 2 bits of dark chocolate and a banana with some salt. Coffee is on the go. We're gonna go and train at the Shed today, which is this pretty sick bodybuilding gym that's around the corner that I haven't tried yet and I probably should do. Because I realized this, right? I am basically a bodybuilder, but with the way that I train, it makes it a little bit more hybrid because I play rugby and cricket. So I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to accept that that's just who I am. But I don't eat like a bodybuilder. I try not to be so rigid and regimental, especially when it comes to the weekends. Like, I'll enjoy myself. I'll have glasses of wine. I don't drink all the time, but like, I will. With the photo shoot, things are a bit more rigid because ultimately that's the goal. That's the bigger thing this year. And therefore that's the focus. In the old OC mug as well from the September event. That was a really good event. Very, very nice. Reflective. Give me a lot of purpose. Good amount of downtime, good amount of uptime, time to focus on the business, time to focus on yourself. It was a good trip. As we enjoy this delicious pre-workout meal. Anyone watch the rugby this weekend? Pretty gutting, to be honest. Genuinely thought England were going to win. Well, I did for about 10 minutes and then Ireland just woke up and dominated. Didn't feel like Prendergast did a good enough job. At 10, I felt like Crawley probably was the better option when he came on. Played much better. Prendergast just looked a little erratic. Just didn't look like he was in place there and missed a few kicks as well, which as a 10 you shouldn't really be doing at that level, right? But saying that, England started really strongly and then just like some really lazy penalties. The push from Slade wasn't ideal. The Itoje one was just ridiculous. Like, that shouldn't have happened. Like, I don't see that being a penalty. And they just didn't convert. Caden Murley, Stormer, great start, great kicking, great options, great running. What the fuck was he up to on his ball line, right? Not ideal. Wales game, they play the same structure as us when it comes to their attacking format. So they play in like 2 lots of 3 with the forwards, and then so you then deliver to the second man or outside man, and they then hit it up. And then on the second phase, you hit the inside middle man, and then it comes out the back. But it was just so repetitive, it was so obvious what was happening, and then it was just like first up runners, and there was no fluidity to it. They didn't kick, they didn't create any chances, it just felt stagnant, and I think that just sums up really how Wales have been at the moment. A bit like Exeter, if we're going to be honest. And yeah, so interesting game. I mean, France were just dominating as always. Entamax's red card was interesting, but it doesn't even matter too much. Like, all the England fans are like, yeah, it's good that he's not available now, but like, all you're going to do is bring in Ramos and he's just going to be just as good anyway. French rugby at the moment is insanely good. Insanely good. Elite meal. I forgot how good adding salt to everything is. I didn't watch any of the Scotland-Italy game, but I did see an interception in the highlights. Gonna get pre-workout in, going to just edit maybe like 1 or 2 more bits of content. Trying to push us a lot of carousels at the moment. Get you guys engaged more to see more of the page. Literally, you type in JAC Fitness, I'm the first guy that pops up. I'm a little bit bigger than the old, the other Jack Fitness, let's say that. That guy annoys me. I feel like he's rage posting, that he's like baiting when he posts. Because half the time he complains that he's not made progress. He's gained 15 kilos, but if he's on PEDs, performance enhancing drugs, so that essentially It accelerates the growth of everything. Not the most ideal thing, especially if you've got benign tumour cells. Not saying that he has, but like tendons and ligaments won't be able to cope with that level of growth so quickly. The thing is, his training sucks ass. I've seen it. And I think now he enjoys the fame too much of what he could potentially have been. And it's like he's fallen from grace. Already fallen from grace, bless him. There we go. We're gonna finish this up, edit a bit more content, go train.
I took one step outside just then in shorts and was like, nope, it's not happening. This is the perils of being less than 15% body fat right now. I'm fucking cold all the time. All the time. Jesus, what a gym. What a gym. It has every kind of piece of kit you could ever imagine in there. From Prime to Cybex. If you're not a bodybuilder, it's going to mean absolutely nothing to you, but some machines are built really, really well so that it feels incredible, and others are built like absolute trash. Oh, it's fantastic. Looks like I'm changing gyms. So we just got back. We have lunch here, which is an insane amount of calories. I'll chuck them up on the screen here. Still in awe of that gym. Insane amount of kit. JP and Hollingshead have made an incredible space for bodybuilding. And as much as I would argue that I'm not a bodybuilder, I love that style of training. I love chasing the pump. I love getting stronger and bigger. But because I play sports, it has to kind of be fluid as well at the same time. But the kit is incredible. Can't get over that. Legends, I hope you're well. We're going to run through my current training program. That's the plan. Just finished lunch. Lots of food. Dinner last night was mental. I mistimed it, so I had to eat almost 900 grams of potato. This is dinner. It's the size of my fucking head. 800 grams of potato. Dave, what are you doing to me, bro? Which is insane. I don't know how I did it, really. We are now 11 weeks out from the photo shoot, and I wanted to just give you a rundown of what the program looks like, so you've got a good understanding of everything that is kind of going on right now, because it's pretty incredible to consider like how far we've come in the last 11 months. Like, if you think back about where I was last November, I was on crutches after a rugby accident. Couldn't really walk. I've had to rebuild my squat pattern again. I've had to start from the very bottom with weights and just get moving, which has taken a long time. Gone from about 83 kilos down to about 76. We're now 77 in a bit. And we'll kind of break that down about what we did later on in the video. But we're just going to run through the workouts today so you can see essentially what Dave's programmed for us and what the plan is running through with that, which is going to be awesome, because it is going to be pretty mental in terms of what these workouts are going to be like. So, without further ado, 11 weeks out, this is what our workouts are going to be looking like. So with training now, with me not playing rugby, but I'm still going to be going to rugby training. Thanks, Coach Ben. We're going to a 6-day training split. So the first 5 days are very much bodybuilding focused, with still utilizing the rugby training as the conditioning work, and then into the 6th day, which is going to be a conditioning session, which we'll run through here later on. But essentially we're going for a anterior posterior training split, and then another posterior. Oh, it's delts and arms. It's just delts and arms, Jack. So that's what that one is, which is going to be great. And we can see then we've got that rugby training in there in the evening. So if we start out with workout 1, we've got a warm-up, single leg hamstring bridge, iso hold, straight leg Copenhagen plank. So what we're trying to do here is, 1, isolate the hamstrings and adductors to get them engaged and ready for the movements. Then into a front foot elevated split squat with a quadrilateral load. So what we're trying to do here is get those glutes engaged as we then get into the first set of exercises. Now, when you're squatting, when the hip flexes, more than 90 degrees, your adductors start to get used at the bottom of those exercises. So this is why it's super important that one, the Copenhagen plank is in there before we do the hack squat, to make sure we're nice and warm. Now these are in supersets. The way that the gym is laid out in JD and also the shed, which is where I'm going to be doing the majority of my training, I think, for this block, I can't do these supersets, so I just run them straight. So I do the 2 sets of the hack squats, and I do 2 sets of the dumbbell bench press. But from a programming standpoint, this is how Dave's chosen to do it, which I don't mind at all. So we're into the banded hack squat. So we've got a reverse band. I'm pretty sure there's a Cybex hack squat in the shed, which is going to be awesome. If not, and if I do train at JD, I'll probably just do a pendulum squat in the end, just because I've been working on that for the majority of the last 6 weeks. So it makes more sense that I try and use that piece of kit because I'm already neurologically adapted to that exercise. So when you go into any block of training, remember, it's going to take you 4 to 5 weeks to get used to the training block, which is where you're going to see the most neurological changes before you then see any physical changes of the strength. This is why doing a program for about 6 to 8 weeks is good, why you shouldn't be jumping between exercises, and why you shouldn't be jumping between workout programs every 2 or 3 weeks, because you're ultimately not going to be creating the neurological stimulus needed to grow and change or get stronger and fitter. We then go into the dumbbell bench press, 3 times 6 to 10. Tempo is massively pumped up. And I think that's just to help load the tendons and ligaments a little bit more, because there's an increase in training volume across the week. For the last, pretty much the majority of training has been me doing 4 days of training, because I've been playing rugby on the weekends, and then 2 conditioning sessions with the rugby training, or doing extra cardio on top of that. But now, because training's gone up, I can imagine that the tempo's in there to just help support the tendons and ligaments a little bit more. We're then gone for the incline clavicular cable chest press. Not too sure on this one. I haven't done it too often, so I recorded it and sent a video over to Dave to see what he thinks. Machine leg extension, so 2 sets of warm-ups, because otherwise I am wrecked, and then 3 times 12 to 15. Again, 3-second hold at the top of those reps. Into the Bulgarian split squats, so 2 warm-up sets in there as well. The first set I tend to do like a nice big long stretch in there as well, because I'm still trying to keep my position nice and good. I'm still trying to keep my hips nice and open as I go through these reps, because I now sit down a lot for my job, coaching you lot. It's super important that I have good hip flexion and extension. So that's why I try and do that first set with going into the bottom of that Bulgarian split squat space, and then really trying to lengthen those quadriceps and hip flexors, and then adding in some rotation as well. So then when I get to the bottom of that space, we're trying to just open up all the way through. Into pec deck, again, tempo's nice and slow. Decline dumbbell skull crusher, which is a phenomenal exercise. I feel an incredible stretch here through my diaphragm. So good for people that are consistently rounded over the top of their rib cage, especially if you're desk bound. I think that's a great exercise that everybody should be including. Dual rope tricep extension, great little exercise, which I love too. So then we've got workout 2, which is the kettlebell windmill 45-degree side bend. Main thing here is don't rotate. Thank you, Lewis, for the tip. Lewis Ferns, great chiro, based in Wales, smart dude, jacked, real jacked ginger is a good way of describing him. Because with my rib break from playing rugby, shock, it's important that I do try to go through that plane of motion without any rotation. Then we've got side lunge into curtsy lunge. I added this one in personally off the back of seeing Lewis do it, just because I think it'd be quite useful for my knee to be able to be loaded on occasions outside the line of normal loading patterns, so that it's being loaded on the medial side of the knee and on the lateral side of the knee. Then we're into cable crunch, and then today when I trained at the shed, we did trap bar deadlift, but they don't have a deadlift trap bar there. They don't have a trap bar deadlift, but you do not have a trap bar at the shed. So just did standard deadlifts. Didn't do the 5-second negatives. I probably should have done that. Oops. Single arm supinated pull down, which was sick. Really like this piece of kit. The way that it comes over the top and the way that you can load it with the multiple different pins helps you match up the resistance profile when you're strongest, which is incredible. So when I was weaker at the bottom of the reps, I could take more of the load off to make it easier for me to complete and get into the shortened range. Bit nerdy biomechanics there for you, but it helps a hell of a lot. Prone hamstring curl, beautiful. That prime kit, insane. Tall kneeling, single arm cable row. I opted for a chest supported machine prime row this time round, just because I fancied it. I was training in the shed and I hadn't trained there before, so it was good fun. 45-degree back extension. Normally I absolutely love these, but the one that they've got at the shed, I don't like the lack of hamstring and calf support on that one, because it's like literally locked into your heels. I feel like I couldn't load myself very well. I felt like my hamstring was going to tear off a little bit, but that's probably because that loading pattern, that loading point, is further away from the pivot point of the hip, so that's why my hamstrings felt it a lot more. Instead of having the brace on the leg, halfway up the leg, the brace was at the heel, so there's like an extra like 10 inches of range, so that means an extra 10 centimeters of torque against the amount of weight lifted. Then cable bicep curl, and then posterior cable bicep curl on the sexiest prime cable machine, which can internally and externally rotate and then flex and extend, which is beautiful. Then we've got rugby training. So this is what I typically do for my rugby warm-up. This is separate from what we do within the training session itself. So this is me rocking up at the time that everybody is just before they warm up. I try to do some reverse lunges, hamstring scoops, lateral leg swings, forward leg swings, pogos as well, pogos to side, and some ace skips. And then typically we just get into some like touch rugby and then all the drills that we normally do. And then workout 3, another anterior workout. Warm up 90 breath with reach forward. So what we're trying to do here is try and work on internal rotation of the hip and then flexion through that position. Front foot elevated contralateral hold, like we have done in that first one. Again, looking to try and get those glutes and anterior to posterior sling being engaged. Hanging knee raise, ab roller, and then deficit place push-ups. So again, getting the core engaged and then trying to stretch the chest. Incline Smith machine chest press. I'm very excited to do that one at the shed because there's some beautiful pieces of kit we can use on that. Safety bar squat's going to be good fun. 3 times 6 to 10. Last week we did 81 kg with the safety bar squat, which was insane. Tempo was great. Absolutely fucking loved it. Knee felt insane. The fact that, as I said, like 11 months ago, I wasn't able to even walk without crutches, to be able to then do safety bar squat with that much, I'm so proud of myself. Yeah, I'm actually really proud of myself. What a comeback that is. Couldn't have asked for anything better than that. Seated cable chest press. Again, I'm really excited to do that one because I think there's some really cool prime kit. Again, prime kit. And I did notice there was some cuffs as well that's going to be great from Josh Bridgman's company 1RM 1MR. There's some cuffs from Josh Bridgman's company 1MR that I'm excited to use. Machine leg press, which is going to be great. Dumbbell lateral raise into machine leg extension. So what you can notice is that in the last 8 weeks of programming, we've had a lot of the bigger exercises lower down on the training program. This has allowed me to warm up my tendons and ligaments a little bit more, and then almost pre-fatigue those muscles in that shortened range. And then we've gone into the big movements. It's allowed us to feel really good going through those reps. Now that they've kind of reversed and we've got the bigger compound lifts at the start and then the exercises where I'm getting into a shorter range of motion at the end, it's going to create a bigger pump for us. It's going to really feel those muscles with a lot of blood pressure and blood volume in there, and that's going to feel damn good. I'm going to feel like 10 times bigger than I actually am, which is going to be awesome and exciting. Strict dips, again, first 2 sets are 6 to 10. Second set is that 10 to 15. So I'm going to try and aim to do that strict dip with the 5-second negative, 2-second hold and 2-second up with about 4 kilos. And I know that doesn't seem like much, but that is quite a lot given that tempo. And then that third set is going to be back off sets with minimal weight, and I'm just going to try and get as many as I can out. Then we've got a cable tricep extension. Again, nice, slow, controlled tempo. Workout 4. is a B stance RDL with contractor load. So again, trying to work through that anterior posterior sling, working through anti-rotation of the hips, trying to get those glutes fired up. 45-degree side bend again, side lunge to curtsy lunge, which I've added in myself, and then a cable crunch. Going for a pull-up. So again, this is first 2 sets is likely to be a weighted pull-up first, because I can do that when I use some lifting straps, into then a back off set at 10-15 reps with body weight, likely. Barbell Romanian deadlift. This is the first time we've had a barbell in the program for a Romanian deadlift. I'm very excited to see what that looks like. 2 sets of 6 to 10. I reckon we're going to be looking to get close to about 80 to 100 kilos with that one. And then the first set of 10 to 15, again, back off, probably looking around 60, especially at, again, this tempo. Last week, I did 34 kilos for 2 sets of 15 reps with a 3-second down, 2-second hold, 2-second up tempo. So I do generally believe that like the barbell Romanian deadlift is going to be something we can really push. It's going to be great. 45-degree back extension, single arm high cable bicep curl. This one absolutely knackers my rotator cuffs on my left side from bowling and throwing a cricket ball. But I know that's one of the best exercises. It's going to be really handy for me to be able to throw the ball better as we go into the start of the season, which is in April. Seated machine row and then walking lunge, which is going to be brutal. Whenever I look at walking lunges, I always know that it's just a fatiguing exercise because it smashes the hell out of your lungs as well as your quads. Cable bicep curl and then GHD dumbbell preacher curl, which is going to be cool because I know there's a piece of kit to do that. Then there's rugby training on Thursday as well. Sometimes I go, sometimes I don't. It's typically in the mud with a brand new sexy car. I don't always want to go into it, so I sometimes shower post-game, sometimes shower post-session. Then we got the delts and arms one, kettlebell windmill, upside down kettlebell press, side lunge to curtsy lunge in there again, plate deficit push up, dumbbell shoulder press, which is going to be great, reverse crunch, love that, standing cable rear delt fly, straight arm pull down, which is again going to be cool to try and do, rear delt, dumbbell front raise, posterior cable bicep curl, and then cable overhead tricep extension. So that's the majority of the bodybuilding training sessions that we've got. Then we've got our conditioning session, which is going to be interesting to see how we can do in the shed if I move over there soon. First block, 6 rounds, 12-minute max cals on the assault bike, and then every 2 minutes on the minute, going to do 3 power cleans with 40 kilos. So that's taking it just from like just knee height, 3 front squats, and then 3 push press with 40 kg, all of which is absolutely possible for my training ability. I've done a few CrossFits and turf games and that kind of style of training sessions before, so I should be able to do that quite comfortably. It's essentially 6 rounds, so we should be absolutely fine to manage that. The max cals on the assault bike might make it a little bit more challenging, so that's where I'm probably just going to have to make sure I've got some lifting tape on the thumb and then go for good old hook grip. Block 2 is 3 rounds, it's 15 cals in 30 seconds on the rower, then 20 walking lunges. And then block 3 is plyo step-ups, 12 reps each side, then dumbbell single leg RDL to muscle snatch. That's a very complicated exercise if you've never done it before. It's essentially looking at trying to get to full extension, triple extension of that rep, apart from that ankles probably not. And then dumbbell sit-up, which is always a little bit more challenging than people realize. So yeah, that's the training block. Sunday is a rest day. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, that's how we're running this training block right now.